That's a new one. Got it, got it. Okay, great. So thank you so much for joining us today for our Give STL Day nonprofit panel on best practices. Really excited for this discussion today where we're going to do some peer-to-peer learning, which is the best kind of learning. My name is Emily Baumann. I'm the communications manager at the St. Louis Community Foundation. I am joined by Laura Schimmel, our communications intern, who's going to be keeping an eye on the chat. So you're welcome to drop in questions as we go, and then we'll have a little Q&A at the end. In case you missed it a second ago, this meeting is being recorded and the link will be posted on the Give STL Day website. So welcome, Leon, Bree, and Alicia. We're so excited to have you here today. I'm going to do some brief introductions and then we will jump right in. Bree Maniscalco is the executive director at Cinema St. Louis. She has been involved with the organization for 17 years, starting as a volunteer in 2007 and later serving as the development director since January of 2018. She conducted a strategic analysis of CSL during her postgraduate studies at Washington University and served on its board from 2014 to 2017. Prior to CSL, Bree held development roles at Susan G. Komen, Missouri, Gateway 180, and the Central Institute for the Deaf. She also served on the board of the Association of Fundraising Professionals. She holds an MA in Nonprofit Management from Washington University and is a BS in Psychology and Human Development/Family Studies from the University of Utah. Welcome, Bree, and thank you for being here. Alicia Delaney-Clayton is the Assistant Director at Bilingual International Assistance Services. She recently celebrated her first year overseeing operations there. Her previous experience is in fundraising, communications, and program development, oversight, and volunteer engagement. In her free time, what free time? She serves as co-chair of the St. Louis Human Rights Campaign Steering Committee. Thank you, Alicia. Last but certainly not least is Leon Threat, Executive Director at Northside Youth and Senior Service Center. His journey with the organization began in 1994 when he joined as a part-time youth assistant while pursuing his graduate degree in social work at Washington University. Over the years, Leon has worn various hats within the agency, including youth director, grant writer, and development director, showcasing his dedication and multifaceted expertise. Transitioning into his current role 3 years ago, Leon continues to steer the organization towards its mission of serving the youth and senior community with passion and commitment. Welcome, Leon. So once again, wonderful panelists, thank you for being here today. Let's just start off a little bit by telling us about your organization, maybe how long you've participated in Give STL Day and what your why is. Bree, do you mind going first?
Sure. So Cinema St. Louis started as a event-based nonprofit back in 1992. We had our first ever St. Louis International Film Festival. And from then we grew and grew over the years, adding programs throughout the year. And then last year, January of 2023, we finally decided, coming out of COVID, why not, to buy a permanent home for the organization. We purchased the iconic High Point Theater in the Dogtown neighborhood, kind of the High Point neighborhood too. And so now we're running a theater day to day and doing our annual film festivals and filmmaking camps. So it's been quite an adventure. And we've been doing Give STL Day since, I believe, 2015. And we've done various campaigns over the years. And our why is so that we can continue supporting independent film in St. Louis for both filmmakers and film lovers alike.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Alicia, do you want to go next?
Absolutely. So Bilingual International, which will not be named that as of March 29th, we have a new name coming out, so keep an eye out for that. Bilingual International serves immigrants and refugees all over the St. Louis city and county areas. We provide resources to them either when they've arrived just a few months after, or if they've been here for decades. And those resources really span a pretty wide breadth of resources. So we provide mental health therapy, case management, interpretation, translation, immigration help legally. We provide a lot to the immigrant and refugee community here in St. Louis. We've been participating in Give STL Day for 11 years this year, so since the beginning. And our why is really to get as much just notoriety out there about the organization and the work we're doing in St. Louis to help immigrants and refugees, and to really encourage anyone who has an interest in that to help us as well.
Thank you. So glad you've been with us since the beginning. Leon, how about you? Can you tell us about Northside and your history with Give STL Day?
Sure, I'll start off from the beginning. We've been there since the beginning as well, 11-year history with Give STL Day. One of the reasons why we've participated in it is allows us to be able to connect with more supporters of our mission and our causes, the causes that we support. And then also it gives an opportunity for those friends who already support us to be able to showcase their support, and so they even have little internal competitions amongst each other. Northside is located in the Ville neighborhood of Greater St. Louis. It's a historically Black neighborhood, which is also home to Sumner, Annie Malone, and some other notable facilities. We provide services targeting seniors. We provide nutrition and transportation services. We have a non-emergency transportation program that provides transportation and medical appointments, pharmacies, and shopping trips for seniors. To our fleet of vans that provide that citywide transportation, we've recently added electric vehicles, and then also we provide a nutrition program. We are the largest Meals on Wheels deliverer in the city of St. Louis. In addition to Meals on Wheels, we also have a congregate meal program for seniors to come in, participate in a range of activities. And then for our youth, we provide out of school time programming. We partner with a number of different facility organizations to host sites for our out of school time programming. And those programs are provided on weekends, summer, and immediately following the school day.
Wow, that's a lot. That actually leads perfectly into the next question. Leon, I would love for you to tell us, with everything that you have going on and thinking about people who are on the call, everything that they have going on at their organization, how do you determine what your focus for Give STL Day is actually going to be?
Well, we look internally, and I think the main thing is for us looking at the amount of money that or the amount of support that we typically get, and then trying to find causes within our organization or projects within our organization where that level of contribution can actually make a real strong impact. We don't want the contribution to be the total source of support for a particular project that we're looking at, but we do want it to play a significant role. That way, when we provide our pitch or supporting argument about why the support should be committed to our organization, that individuals know that they're really participating in a team effort to provide a meaningful impact for the residents that we serve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think setting that achievable, tangible goal is a really important facet of the Giving Day participation, regardless of what that is for an organization. Having something identifiable can be really important. Or if you're in Alicia's boat, you've got a name change to deal with. Can you tell us how that's affecting your Giving Day plans?
Yes, we know that we won't be as recognizable in the community if we just say, hey, here's our new name and we are raising money for this specific program. They won't know anything about us. So we're doing some pretty specific marketing to use our new name and our old name and just do a general campaign. And as all of you know, operating funds are very important to a nonprofit, and they're not quite as enticing to raise money for, but we really talk a lot in our marketing for Give STL Day about the work that we do in all of our different programs and how a gift during Give STL Day will benefit all of those.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Bree, I know that you're taking probably a little bit of a different approach this year, having that new building, and you shared with me that there are a lot of improvements that need to be made. could you speak a little bit to the specific focus that you're taking for Give STL Day this year and in previous years?
Yes. So over the years, we've done very generic campaigns where we just ask people to support our programming initiatives throughout the year. So whether that is the St. Louis International Film Festival or one of our other festivals or filmmaking camps, that's kind of been the baseline of our campaigns. But when we purchased the High Point Theater last year, we realized when you buy a building that's over 100 years old, you have a lot of things to uncover and fix. So last year we did our first ever physical concrete campaign, and we did it was called Raise the Roof. And so it was literally to purchase a new roof for the building. It is a 7,000 square foot roof, so it is quite a daunting task. And we raised our largest amount ever on Give STL Day last year. So we're deeply grateful for all of the supporters who backed that campaign. And I'm excited to say that we are finally breaking roof on the brand new roof. And as soon as we can make sure that there's no like days of rain, we're going to go ahead and get started on that. So this year, with the roof campaign, there is quite an extensive air conditioning and heating system that operates in the theater. And if you ever want to know what a 100-year-old air system looks like in a building, come on by. I can help you out with that. I've learned a lot about it. So we are going to be looking into redoing the heating, which right now is a steam boiler, and it costs us quite a bit of money each month just to operate. And we have some not so energy efficient or environmentally friendly cooling systems. So we're getting bids right now to find ways to not only be more energy efficient, but friendly toward the environment and save our monthly costs on utilities so that more of our money can go towards the programming that we do at the theater and through our film festivals and filmmaking camps and education programs.
And you know more about HVAC than you ever thought you would ever know in your entire life,
I
I'm
really
sure.
do. I've
Yeah.
learned a lot, and I really don't want to go through this process ever again.
Quite an undertaking. Well, thank you all so much for sharing that. I think that this is a really great example of the different angles an organization can take. Of course, Give STL Day funds, when you receive your grant check, those are unrestricted dollars. You know, your organization can do whatever you want with that money, essentially. But if you've oriented your campaign around something specific for your organization, whether that's a name change or removing your steam broiler, that's just another angle that you can take to help build out that strategy and give people something to orient their giving around and get them excited about. Bree, I can't imagine how much this HVAC situation is costing you. Are you setting a dollar goal for Give STL Day? How are you handling that?
We are. So, in the past, and first I just want to apologize to the listeners. I have a dog here at home who is really going through something traumatic. And so I apologize if he yelps. I tried to put him in a room and he found his way out. So first, apologies for that.
No
But
problem.
back to it. So with the roof last year, we knew that it was going to be a six-figure, operation to be able to replace the roof. And in years past, our goal for Give STLD has been anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and we've come close, but never really met our goals in those previous years. So last year we raised close to 25,000, which was our largest, and compared to the repair of the roof, some may consider it a drop in the bucket, but as my other panelists on this call know, every drop in that bucket makes a huge difference. So to all of those supporters, you literally made this roof repair possible. And so we're taking the same kind of approach for the HVAC system this year, where we know it is going to be a huge, expensive endeavor, likely six figures, probably more than the roof. And so we're setting our goal probably between 20 to 40,000. We want it to be something that doesn't seem daunting to the people that are supporting us on that day, and we want it to seem achievable and realistic, but still make people feel like that their participation is going to have a huge impact in the final result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can really feel like they're helping make a difference in this project that you're saying is so important. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Leon, that reminds me of what you shared with me about Northside's strategy for Give STL Day. We talked a little bit about your last dollar in type approach. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, we're so as I said, one of the one of the things that we do is we look for projects where a the amount that we typically raise from Give STL Day can have us play a significant role. And so what we like to do is actually another part of that is looking at something where we've already raised funds. We're already moving towards that goal. And so when we put that dollar amount out there, we're able to say that, hey, if you all support us at this level, if we meet our goal and give STL Day, then we'll be able to make this happen. And it's strategic on our part because we're um, we're primarily have been funded by grants and contracts, and so we're now moving more into building individual support. We have a great story to tell. We know we can do that, and so um, for those who, had we been in a position where we already have a number of individual supporters, then maybe we would have went the general support way of where, we say, here's the dollar amount. But when we're trying to find people who maybe have not heard about us and we want to get them tied into our mission, then I just think it's a terrific way. It's a very effective way by saying, here's a specific way that we meet our mission, and here's how you can come in and join us, and you can be assured that one, our goal is achievable. Two, we already have people who have said that there's value in what we're doing. And then three, you become a part of the family of supporters that helped us to make this possible because we know that we've set an achievable goal.
Mhm. I love that distinction you mentioned to where for existing supporters and people who are familiar with your organization, maybe that ask for general support is the way to go and could be, a successful campaign. But for people who are new to you, really telling them Northside's story, giving them that achievable goal, saying you're helping us cross this finish line might be a better way to engage them. Thank you for sharing that. Alicia, how do you handle your Give STL Day goal setting? Are you looking more at dollar amount as well?
Yes, we are. And we're kind of in a similar boat as Leon. We also are very grant and contract funded. And so we are also looking to get more individual donors. We see a lot of the same donors year over year, knowing that we have some very loyal volunteers and supporters, but would love to get some more individual donors. But we do have a set dollar amount that we're looking to raise. And we got very close to reaching it last year. And so have even more marketing strategies to really make sure we reach it this year.
Yeah, excellent. I heard a lot of you talking about relationship building in the context of setting that dollar goal. What are you looking at unrelated to dollars? How else are you measuring Give STL Day success? I'd love to open that to anybody who has thoughts.
Yeah, for us at Cinema St. Louis, similar to what they both said, we've seen a lot of repeat donors year over year. But with the addition of the building, we're inviting a whole new audience to follow us. And so we find that both serve as an opportunity to show them what kind of experience we can provide. And we start that with the very first interaction. So we make sure that what they have is positive and memorable, and that we follow up to where we're not, pestering them, but we're making sure that something is specific to what they may have indicated their interests are.
That makes a lot of sense. You mentioned pestering. I think you said that Cinema St. Louis used to send quite a few emails, but you pulled back on that a little bit.
Yeah, so back in the day, we would do almost hourly emails to people through our email subscriber list. And we had so many people unsubscribe for Give STL Day updates. So a few years back, when we sent out our save the date through our email system, we said, if you want to stay in touch with us for Give STL Day and make a difference or just see what the day is about, click this link and you will automatically opt in to those communications. So now we only email that list. And we find that we have a lot more engagement and a lot more people that actually participate versus opting out, which has been great.
Brilliant. That is a little golden nugget of wisdom that I will be stealing. So thank you so much for that. Leon, I'd love to throw it to you to ask a little bit about how you look at your new Give STL Day donors and then retaining them over time.
Um, So with the new donors, what we do is if they provide us with contact information, we definitely reach out to them within 48 hours of receiving their information and thank them for their contribution because like I said, we're new to the game of building individual contributions. But then we also uh, just like to ask one simple question is how were we so fortunate to be a beneficiary of your generosity? Because it's also a listening campaign for us because in listening to the feedback that we get, it's for us uh, a blueprint for being able to tailor our message to the future. And so it really is it's 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 an understanding that people have a lot of options in giving. There's a reason that they give, and it's not just about our needs. It's about what made them feel, what made give them the sense of fulfillment by contributing to what we do. And if we can give them more of that, then we know that we've built a friend into a lasting relationship of support for our agency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We'll definitely take more questions at the end, but we do have one in the chat right here. Is in what way are you doing that outreach? Is that by email? Is it by phone?
It depends on the information that we get. Email works a lot. We're when we reach out by phone, we have a different technique where some people are very sensitive to to phone solicitations, so we want them to hear us, and so when we call, we make sure that from the front end that we quickly get out the message that we're calling to thank you. Um, but as much as possible, we will try to do it by email and then request information to follow up with the phone call.
Thank you. That's definitely some great tips. Appreciate it. Alicia, you mentioned that you do see a lot of the same people donating year over year. Do you have any special techniques that you do to reach out to that group around Give STL Day?
Yes, we have a large social media presence in making sure that we really help our audience understand what we're wanting to do with this money, what our services really are, and then making sure that our loyal supporters are sharing that pretty widely across social media, are forwarding our email. We send a couple of emails out on Give STL Day, and so we ask them to share it with someone who they think might be interested in the services that we provide and supporting us in that.
Mm-hmm. And what does the timing look like for your organizations? Are you starting now? Are you waiting until early giving starts? Are you really focusing in on the 24-hour giving period itself? Anyone who wants to take that first, please go ahead.
So we do a save the date. We try to get it out by the end of March. And it's just really to tease what's coming. And again, we use it as a way, and this goes in our generic email. So it goes to everyone, and we do a save the date that says Give STL Day is coming, and the imagery matches what our campaign is going to be. And the link for that clicks to our opt-in list. And so then they get a message back saying, thank you so much. You'll receive communications as we get closer to Give STL Day on how you can help make a difference to our organization or others. And so that's, we really go slow at the beginning And then we do another announcement for the early giving period. And then we ramp it up the week of, and of course, the day of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that answers a question we got in the chat here about that email. You're asking people to opt in rather than asking them to opt out, correct?
Yes,
okay.
We ask them to opt in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they probably like that a little bit more than automatically being opted in.
Yes.
Leanne, I know that you take a little bit of a different approach in the timing of your Give STL Day communications. Could you share your strategy?
Yes, we look at early giving. Now we will send out correspondence around late March, early April to let them know that Give STL Day is coming. But we do really start in the early giving period, and then and then we start internally also with our staff and our board. Our board of directors, they have a competition amongst themselves as far as giving, so they get in on the early giving, and then they kind of needle each other. So the first one that does it actually will make sure that they send a message to all to let people know that they gave and how much they gave, and that kind of started organically, but of course I had no problem encouraging it and spurring it on. And then they and then by lieu of that excitement, I mean it's you can't help but be contagious. And so they'll also bring in others. A lot of times we'll find that some of the people who are newly introduced to our agency are because of either staff members or board members who gave and it encouraged others to give.
That's awesome. That excitement is definitely contagious, and there is nothing wrong with a little bit of friendly competition, especially between board members. I love to hear that. And I love what you said about word of mouth as well. That's one of the most powerful things about Give STL Day is how easy it is to share that the event is happening. It's easy to share that you made a donation or that you have a fundraiser going for an organization that you care about. And that's definitely where social media plays a huge part in all of our strategies. I think even for my strategy for promoting Give STL Day overall. Alicia, you mentioned that Bilingual has a pretty substantial social media audience. Could you tell us a little bit about how you leverage that for your Give STL Day campaign?
Yes, we really encourage our board members to share it as widely as they can, our volunteers, our staff members, and a lot of them are in different communities in St. Louis and can really spread that word pretty easily. We have different connections to mosques, churches, restaurants, right? So really just using our network as much as possible. And we really think consistent messaging is the best route to go. Last year, we used a meter to show how much money was raised over the day. And because we work with people from all over the world, I used a globe as the representative and filled the globe up throughout the day. And this year we'll have something a little bit different, but I think people really enjoyed watching that fill up, and they felt like they were a part of that. So when they saw the next update, they were like, oh, I'm the reason why that went up halfway or whatever it was. And so it's a fun little thing to add in. And you do need to know a little bit on Canva how to do that, but it's a pretty easy lift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that idea. And I imagine that a lot of the organizations that are here at the panel are now thinking about what kind of graphic they can use to represent their organization and what their thermometer is going to look like. Bree, I am curious. So obviously, Cinema St. Louis video. Are you leaning on video content a lot for your social media strategy?
We are. And, as a visual media organization, marketing and social media has not come easy for us over the years. We have been a very transparent organization, and so we tend to be very forward and share a lot of copy. And we've learned, especially in the social media world, that people have like 5 seconds. And in that time, if you can't grab their attention, then they're just going to keep scrolling. So we've talked to a lot of local filmmakers who have given us tips on what they do to promote their individual films. And so last year we leaned really heavy into videos. We had a few images to help us, but we did, thanks to the social media person that we had last year, she did this fantastic video where it merged all of these rooftop scenes from famous films over the years. And that was our Raise the Roof campaign video. And then on the day of Give STL Day, we actually went up to the rooftop at sunrise and did a live video to engage people. We then got locked out for about an hour. And so that was a really fun live post too, to have people help us get down.
Oops.
So, yes.
And were you just using an iPhone when you were up there on the roof at
Yes.
sunrise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a smartphone?
Yeah.
I think a great reminder of the fact that we all, pretty much all of us, have in our pockets or in our purses the power to create video content for
Yes,
our
you have
organizations.
many computers in your hand that also can make amazing films. So use it, and even Canva, you can use that on your phone while you're doing the video. So
And
there's a
Canva
lot.
Premium is free for nonprofits. Don't
That's
forget,
right.
if
I
you
was
aren't
just
signed up,
going
you
to
should
say
be.
that. Yeah. So there's lots of great resources out there that people can use. So even if you don't have a social media person, or maybe you don't have a volunteer that can help you with that, just take a few minutes and, play with stuff. And it's pretty amazing what you can create.
And I think, again, thinking of our smartphones, just how easy it is to take pictures with our phones. Leon, I know that photos of real people, real work, your clients, the kids, the seniors, that's a huge part of your social media presence. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we started off by having a teen intern that to take pictures and that we utilize for social media, pictures and videos. And we found that, you know, of course, we knew that it would, that the kids would catch on and like the being being on camera and pictures, but it was the engagement with the seniors and the unique pers and the unique perspective or insight that it gave to our programming, and the fact that at the same time it was providing a great opportunity for young people who were seeking careers in media or film to be able to learn and explore and to experiment in the field in their field of interest. And so it's been a win-win situation for us. And we try to get accounts where we could use some of the stock imagery, and it just wasn't this. It wasn't the same. I mean, uh, people were so familiar with our I mean, internally, we're so familiar with our clients and the neighborhood. I said we're in a historic Black neighborhood. The scenery and St. Louis, the neighborhood, the people, the styles, the dress. Excuse me. And so when we tried to use stock photos, they're like, that doesn't even. They're not. They're not from St. Louis. That's like, and so it just didn't work as well. And it really the authenticity of using real imagery has worked well for us.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. And if anybody is on the call, maybe you're at an organization to where it's not an option for you to actually take pictures or video of your clients for any reasons. Maybe you're working with children, maybe you're working with people who are in a crisis situation. You still have the stories, right? You might not be able to take that person's picture or take a video of them, but they can still tell you their story, and you can use that in your campaign. Switching gears a little bit here, just so I can make sure that we stay on time. I was curious if any of you have competing asks. As we know, spring is gala season, or often we are leaning heavily on our volunteers for things throughout the year. Alicia, I think that you mentioned that you have a lot going on for your volunteers in this Give STL Day time period. How do you handle that?
We do, yes. We have one of our biggest events, which is our Senior Center picnic in May as well. And so we really help them understand how much we appreciate not only their treasure, but also their time and how that serves the organization in different ways. they so enjoy working that senior center picnic and getting to see the seniors really just enjoying the beautiful weather and really taking that time to make sure that they're having the best time. And so it's not been too hard to sell both things at the same time, but it is something that we have in mind, knowing that donor fatigue is a real thing, volunteer fatigue is, right? But we really help them understand just the difference in value in both of those things.
Mhm. That's great. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a picnic I want to go to. Bree, I know that your LGBTQ film festival often runs right up to or is even on the same day as Give STL Day. And those just have to be two huge pieces of the puzzle for you. How are you juggling those things?
Yeah, so, we try to lean into it and see it as an opportunity. We literally have a captive audience in front of us. And so on that one day that Give STL Day coincided with our film festival, we made sure, of course, that we had our slide up on the screen so that there was a QR code that people could quickly snap and take a minute to make a donation. We made sure in our verbal remarks before each film, we would mention Give STL Day and why we were raising funds and how that directly supports festivals like QFest. And then because engagement also includes the thanking of donors, right? We actually took time to make like some thank you signs on popsicle sticks, and we asked each member in the audience to hold it up. And we did a picture of all of them with their signs up. They were rainbow colored, of course, saying thank you. And then we posted that on social media and sent it to our donors. So this year, our Q Fest does not fall on the same day as Give STL Day. It's actually we have two festivals right before it, our Classic French Film Festival and Q Fest. So during those festivals, we'll use our advertising space to promote Give STL Day to those audiences.
That's probably a little bit of relief this year, considering everything else going on. But I love how you've taken something that it could be totally overwhelming to have all those things happening so closely together, but you're leveraging it instead, which is awesome and a good reminder to everybody who's here today. To where you said, if you have a captive audience, tell them that they can go and donate to you. Why not?
Yes.
So Bree, I know that there is some media attention around, you call it QFest, right?
Yes, correct.
So I imagine that, if the stars align and if the dates aligns, you're able to promote Give STL Day with the media at that time. Are you involved with any other media efforts for the Giving Day?
Not really. We try to leverage our partnerships with the different media outlets. And so if they're coming out to interview a filmmaker for one of the films in the festival, and if the conversation, timing is right, then we mention how Give STL Day support helps, raise funds for that festival and for filmmakers like that person.
Mhm.
But we didn't really lean on that a lot last year because of how it was for the physical infrastructure of the space. And so similar to this year, really our methods are going to be more toward things we're doing around the theater. So for example, we have our first ever Irish Film Festival coming up this weekend. And so we're talking about, if you want to come back for things like this next year and not sweat during it, or freeze, because you never know in St. Louis, help support us on Give STL Day.
That's probably, you want to be comfortable next time you come?
Right.
I love it. Again, leverage what you got, right?
Exactly.
Speaking of making the best with what you got, Alicia, that name change. Again, you said end of the month it's going to be happening. How's that going to affect your media efforts this year?
Yeah, so it's not the best timing by any means for Give STL Day, but I think we're really going to try and make the best of it. And like I mentioned, market both at the same time. And so promote that we had this name change and how exciting it is that, we're evolving and that we're really looking to serve the community in similar ways, but also in new ways. And how people can help support us through that, through Give STL Day. And we've never done media planning specifically for Give STL Day. We've always felt a little intimidated by it, but you all should watch the training that St. Louis Community Foundation gave just a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, on how to make a pitch to the media, because it was very, very helpful. I think it's recorded on the website. We are definitely going to be using those tips to promote our name change, but also promote Give STL Day, and hopefully just kill two birds with one stone.
Well, thanks for the plug. Glad you enjoyed that training. That was a great one that Vector Communications put on for us. I'm going to switch gears again on you here and go back a little bit to Leon, what you said about that friendly competition with your board. We did have a question in the chat about this, and I have gotten 2 DMs about it. It's a very popular topic. People are loving what you have created with your board here. Could you speak a little bit more specifically to how that works? Are they doing this as a group? Are they kind of quasi-competing individually?
Yeah, so we have, first, a lot of not-for-profit boards have some type of giving requirement or give requirement, and it just so happened that they thought that a good way to leverage Give STL Day was to make that fulfillment on that day.
Because they
And so
actually
that's
become your
kind of how
match, right? Your board
right.
is your match.
Right. And so that's kind of how it started. It's like, okay, we have to give. Why do I give on this particular day? Because not only are we giving, but we're publicly giving as well. And then also, since, they're doing this towards a specific purpose, and pushing others to give, then it becomes an all-out effort. And so they're not, you know, it's not something that they have to remember, to do at the end of the year, or they're trying some had tried to do it monthly, and so what was interesting was individuals who set up to do their give get requirement on a monthly basis. Then once they saw that a board member was making was giving something on Give STL Day, then they would actually give on Give STL Day to try to compete against the other board member, but they still keep their monthly allocation in line as well. And so it just became. I mean, it's like anything else. People who are in people who you find are who give to your agency, who are connected to the mission. When you tell your story, they're it almost just becomes like automatic. Like, why shouldn't we give to this? They know that you're in need and they give. So it's not the matter of them of what they initially give. It's the fact that 9 times out of 10 they can even give more, and it's that extra connection that spurs that on. And then when you add the spirit of competition, of where before we would say, the board, when they make their gifts, it's quiet. We don't want to embarrass anyone or kick them off because they can't make it or anything. Well, I mean, what am I going to do if they publicize this and say it amongst themselves? I mean, heck, they send it out in the email. They send it out in the email. We say, here's give it so specific. Give STL Day. Here's when giving starts, and then what they'll do is they'll go give, and then they'll reply all to that one email so that all the other board members see it too, and that's where it kicks off at. Somebody will make a friendly job at them and say, "Oh, you just wanted us to know that, huh?" And then that's where it starts at it, and I just sit there and ride along with it.
That is amazing. They have like totally embraced the giving day, it sounds like. I'm so glad that that's been working for you and that your board members love that little bit of competition so much. Alicia and Bree, I think you're doing something kind of along the same lines with engaging your board and volunteers. Could you speak a little bit to your strategy, whether it's similar or different, for getting them engaged?
Sure. So our board members, like Leon said, we ask them to give to so many things throughout the year. And especially when we purchase the building, we ask that they all support the acquisition of the building. So last year, we really wanted them to sort of be our ambassadors for the campaigns. So we use the incredible resources that the foundation creates for Give STL Day, and we customize those to create a toolkit for our board members. So they had everything from an email they could send out, posts that they could put on social media. Some of them handwrite letters to their friends, or we also created scripts for phone calls. And we gave that to the board members. And I think we had about 6 or 7 create fundraising pages for our campaign last year. And I really think that that is also what drove us to success, is that they would look and see, oh my gosh, like Leon said, this person's already raised 60% of their goal. I better get on it. And you suddenly see them posting a lot more on social media throughout the day. And so, we have a lot of new board members that have joined us since last year, and I think they are all very excited to get in on that competition, and see if their individual fundraising pages can beat some of those old, seasoned volunteers who really make it seem daunting, but really for a new board member, you give them the toolkit and you find out what makes them passionate, and they just run with it.
And I love that idea of creating a toolkit. For anybody who's not familiar, we do have a Dropbox of resources for you to use for your Give STL Day efforts. And you can take those and run, customize them to your organization, use them as inspiration, use them directly if it's something that'll work for you. So please take advantage of those resources. Alicia, is there anything you wanted to add in the spirit of healthy competition and fundraisers?
Yeah, we don't make it a competition, but that is definitely something that we might take on. But in our toolkit to our board members, we provide, and gosh, the name of it escapes me right now, but the certain hours where
Power
they're
hours.
Power hours, thank you. We provide the power hour information for what Bilingual qualifies for in that email, so that when they're sending it to their connections, their friends, their family, they know when the best time is to donate for us. So really kind of just helping us get the more bang for our buck if possible, and really just helping them have that message really easy to send to their connections.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for sharing those tips. I want to make sure that we stay on track for time. So I am just going to ask one of you to handle answering this next question. Alicia, I would love to for you to speak to how you handle thanking your donors on and after Give STL Day.
Yes, absolutely. So we set a certain amount for funds raised. Say it's $100. If you've donated over $100, we make a call to you either that day or the next day. And we started that last year and got such great feedback from it. People really appreciated that we acknowledged their gift, acknowledged it quickly and personally. And we heard immediate feedback of, wow, I really appreciate you giving me a call, and I can tell how much this gift really means to you all. So we do that, and then we also help engage them in different opportunities to be involved in our organization throughout the year. So different volunteer opportunities, different events, and in fact, one of our donors last year that we did not know before, we wrangled in to be our volunteer receptionist. So we really have made some good connections through Give STL Day.
That's fantastic. I love to hear that. And Bree, I think you told me that you do something similar in which you also make phone calls, but you have a little bit different way of following up to where if somebody calls a donor, then that donor gets a communication from that same person in the future, right? Could you explain the details of that a little bit?
Yeah, so part of what our board members do is they volunteer their time on the day of Give STL Day, like Alicia said, and they make phone calls, or if we can't reach the person, then they'll send an email. And then about a month later, we have a standard email that we send out. And if we have established a connection with one of those donors, then we ask that same board member to send the email on our behalf. And in part of it, we will say, if you'd like to find out more information about, let's say, the Classic French Film Festival or Q-Fest or SLIF, then it becomes a conversation that donor now has with that board member. And so as that conversation continues, we have had board members link up with these donors at the screenings, at the film festivals. And so it just really finds a pathway for them to become a regular in the organization, and they already have a friend when they're there, which is great.
That's awesome. I love that. And it's just making that relationship, helping that person feel seen as a person and as a supporter of your organization beyond the dollar that they contributed.
And
Awesome.
also as an individual, instead of just like this big group that
Right.
we all feel like we are a part of on Give STL Day.
Excellent point. I want to make sure that we have time for questions. So I just have one more question for the panelists. And Leon, if you could start us off, if you had one piece of advice or one action that someone who is watching this can take today to improve their Give STL Day strategy and experience, what would that be?
It would be to that understand that there is a group of people out there that want to give to your mission. They want to give to your cause. And you, when you message them, it's when you tailor your message, it's just understanding the why for them. And so we're not going after and targeting people, who want to or who have no interest, who maybe have interest in veterans, and well, not that veterans can't be seniors, but we're if they want to give, if they want, we're targeting people who have a specific interest in children, in youth and seniors, and so we know, we understand seniors, and we understand the issues that confront seniors, and we understand the issues that confront youth. And so when we're tailoring our message, we know that there are individuals out there that want to know that there's an agency that can help them to be able to achieve their purpose and feel fulfilling by giving. And so we feel like we're actually helping to make that connection, and making and giving people purpose. And so it helps to not only energize us, but also energize others as we begin to craft our strategy. So um, I guess the simple answer to that question is always stay focused and understand the why you're doing this, because there's people, there's an audience out there who will get it as long as you stay focused on that and don't try to become something that you're not.
Wonderful advice to stay true to yourself, true to your mission, and the people are out there who want to support you. Thank you so much. Alicia or Bree, want to jump in?
Yes, my piece of advice would be to start preparing early. Start preparing those social media posts, the newsletters, emails, really get everything done as early as possible, and try to think of different scenarios for social media or newsletters or email updates that might be possible, so that you're not scrambling last minute and you only have hours left in the Give STL day, and the rest of your workday kind of just goes out the window because you're really dedicating all of it to Give STL day. And I know that nonprofits really function on someone doing multiple jobs. So it makes it hard to focus just on Give STL Day on the day. So preparing early is key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and playing right off of that, I would say, if you're a small team, which most of us are, or if you're trying to manage it all on your own, don't. Try to secure ambassadors, whether they be volunteers or board members or previous Give STL Day donors, and see if you can get them engaged to help you. All people want is to be asked, and you'll be amazed at what they say and what they do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. Uh, Thank you all so much. I think we can go ahead and jump into a little bit of Q&A here. I know we answered a couple questions as we went. We've got one question here for any of the panelists. Do you use a particular fundraising platform such as GiveButter or Mite? I'm not familiar with Mite, but I am with GiveButter. Do you want to remind everybody that through the Give STL Day platform, you can create fundraisers? We actually have a training on this happening I believe it's next Thursday. The link is on our website, but I realize that the Give STL Day site is not open year round. So if any of our panelists have suggestions on what technology you're actually using for this engagement outside of Give STL Day, please let us know.
We don't really use a platform per se. Because we have the theater, when people click to buy their tickets, we'll say, consider making an additional donation or rounding up. And we do the same at the concession stand. So we just, again, take advantage of your captive audience where it's natural.
Similar for us.
Alicia, when you say it's similar, is that like when are people interacting with you, since like you don't have a theater? I don't have a theater either.
Yeah.
Or a concession stand, although I wish I did. When is that like point of entry for Bilingual, when you are able to capture people's information?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like I said, we have a couple of different volunteer opportunities throughout the year. And so really we transition a lot of our volunteers into donors. And we have a big event at the end of the year, our trivia night. And so that's really our best time to get that contact information from donors, people who might be interested in donating, people who are just interested in our mission. So that's kind of our biggest times, but we often find that people are just looking for a resource like ours in the community, and they just Google, and we happen to come up, thankfully, and they get connected to us that way. So some of it's luck too.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Sometimes I feel like a lot of it is luck, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, how did that happen? But what I don't think was luck is, Bree, your jump from, you said, about $5,000 to $10,000 to about $20,000 last year raised. We've got a question in the chat, curious to hear a little bit more specifics on how you achieved such a drastic increase.
Yeah, I mean, we were shocked. I'm a big dreamer, and so I have set lofty goals for us in years past, and we've come close, but nothing like last year. And I think the two magical pieces that made it happen for us were board members serving as ambassadors and getting their fundraising pages set up and being active on social media and emails and phone calls. But then also, we're lucky that the High Point Theater is such a treasured icon in St. Louis, and people really sort of rally behind that. So I think we got lucky. I hope we're lucky again this year. You just never know. But the one big thing that we learned is that having something that feels tangible to a donor, I think that you can be more successful that way. So even if you don't have a theater or a building or something that could be tangible, find a way to make the story of someone you serve feel tangible to a donor in their everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Great advice. Thank you. We've got just a couple minutes left, so if anybody else has a question they'd like to drop in the chat, or if you would like to come off mute, you are more than welcome to do so. I think one of my favorite things about panels like these is just the range of experience and strategy and goals that the three of you have brought to the table. Your campaigns are really different, and you're doing the things that you're doing for different reasons. And I think it exemplifies that there's no one right way to do any fundraising campaign, especially Give STL Day, since it is a little bit of a different model with the shared platform. Everybody's kind of coming together. It's not just your year-end appeal, right? So thank you so much for sharing so many tips and tricks and nuggets of wisdom with us today.
I have a quick question, Emily.
Please go ahead.
Bree, I am curious, when you decided to go the opt-in route for Give STL Day communications, I'm curious what percentage of your list opted in, because I think that we probably all have the experience of our email click-through rate. You're lucky if you get like 3% click-through rate, you're like, ooh, this one got a lot of attention, right? So what percentage of that opt-in, of your overall list opted in? And did you did you see that, did you see any decline in your, in the donations that came through via your actual day of communications?
Yeah, great question. So our list where we used to send the emails, for prize hours, power hours, all of that was about 20,000. And when you look at how many people are actually active, it probably came down to about 8,000. And our unsubscribe rate was just astounding at how many people were unsubscribing because we were messaging them about a fundraising campaign. Because of what we do, sometimes we're viewed as more transactional because we have membership benefits, we have tickets to movies. So it's really trying to establish that deep commitment to the mission. So we felt that trying it that way might be a way to go. So when we started it, we automatically emailed every donor who had ever supported Give STL Day and said, if you would like to receive communications about our campaigns going forward, click this button and you'll automatically be included in those emails. And we did the same in the save the date each year. So compared to sending it to our whole list, where I would say probably about 50% of the people would unsubscribe from those emails, we would send it to a much smaller list. I mean, I'm talking it went from 8,000 to 300 people. And those 300 people, our click rate was about 90%. And you would watch the heat map on the emails and they were clicking all over the place and really, really engaged. So it's a system that worked for us. Now, since then, we changed email services. So we went from using Constant Contact to MailChimp, and I don't know if there's anyone out there who has done it, but MailChimp is very restrictive in that you cannot automatically opt people in. They have to opt in on their own. So we went from a database of 20,000 in our emails to a database of 7,000 in our emails, and we're still working to get people to opt in every day. So this year could be a little bit different for us, but we still have all of those donors we've connected with over the years who we will email in a traditional route just to make sure we cover our bases.
So just to clarify, when people were unsubscribing, were they unsubscribing from your email list overall or just from, I no longer want to receive Give STL Day emails?
Yeah, so the 50% that was no longer want to receive Give STL Day communications.
Got it.
But I would also say that we lost a good chunk of people off of our regular email list. Sorry, that's my dog.
Oh, I've got the same problem.
Off of our regular email list because, they wanted to know what movies were happening in town. They didn't want to hear about fundraising.
Okay, but this was like an ongoing year over year. You really kind of honed in a specific Give STL Day list that was.
Yes, 100, almost 100% engaged.
I just want to jump in here real quick. We are a couple minutes over time. So if anybody had a hard stop at 2, Leon, I think you said that you did. So thanks for staying a few minutes over. I'm more than happy to stay and answer any remaining questions, Bree or Alicia, if you're available as well. But Leon, I know you've got to go. So again, thank you so much for sharing your strategy with us and helping us learn about how Northside approaches Give STL Day. Got some more in the chat, some thank yous in the chat. That's so many interesting points, Bree, they're made in relation to email marketing. We're also on MailChimp. And I feel like it's just, I'm like trying to run up a cliff with that, but it's so much better to have a smaller audience of people who are truly engaged with you than flinging those emails out to the masses and just kind of hoping that something sticks. We're actually doing a training specifically on email marketing next week. If anybody is interested in coming into that, it is going to be pretty entry level. We're not going to be getting into the nitty gritties of opt-ins and unsubscribes and heat maps like we were talking about today. But if you're considering making email marketing part of your Giving Day plans, I would definitely recommend coming to that. And also, as a reminder, for those of you, I'm going to assume everybody who's still here, your organization is participating in Give STL Day. Unless that donor has opted to be completely anonymous to your organization, you are going to receive their contact information. You will receive their email address. So you do have the opportunity and option to reach out to them to do this kind of follow-up, whether that's a letter, whether that's an email, whether that's a phone call, or some kind of combination. So anybody else have anything for me, Alicia, or Bree before we sign off? I'll give it just a second in case there's anybody typing away in the chat. But this was just fabulous. Thank you both so much. These kinds of conversations always totally energize me and make me think differently about how I can promote Give STL Day as the project lead here at the Community Foundation. And I love hearing your strategies, and I know that our attendees did too.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. And I just have to say thank you for doing this. You know, it's an incredible day where a lot of people get to learn about the amazing nonprofits in St. Louis. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's the best part of my job. So I haven't seen any more questions come through. So I think we'll wrap things up for today. But thank you all so much for joining us. Again, this meeting was recorded, and I'll be posting the link on our website just as soon as it processes. So have a good rest of your day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Bye.